Hey everyone, welcome to the first episode of the Untitled Podcast Project. My name is George.
Yo, what's up? I'm Nick. I'm gay. I peaked in second grade and I really like frogs. So, our podcast here, like those really gross, dirty, slimy sewers you see in the middle of cities? We're going to talk about whatever is puked out of that sewer hole that is the internet. That's the whole podcast.
So on today's episode, we're going to be talking about the horror movie Iceberg that was posted on Reddit about a month ago by user Nice Guy Phil. Big thanks to him for putting that out there and making the internet go crazy. I did see this on TikTok. I've seen a lot of videos on it recently, right after I posted my video. But the original poster on TikTok was at Honey Luna X. That's what really inspired me to make my video and ended up making this podcast. Also, big thanks to Wendigoon on YouTube for making a video going through some of these, because there were some that I did not want to look up on the internet because we'll get into that later.
That sounds pretty exciting.
It definitely isn't.
So, I guess we can just jump right into the first tier on this wonderfully fun iceberg we're looking at here. Go ahead.
All right. So I'm just going to kind of go down the iceberg, starting with the first tier. First movie listed is Friday the 13th.
Classic.
Spelled F-R-Y-D-A-Y. My favorite movie.
So I straight up, when we were looking at this, I thought this was going to be like some weird like food parody of it. And I was really excited to see like a little French fry guy running around with like a knife. But then it turns out it's just the regular movie. He spelled it wrong. That's fine. Love you, Phil, 27.
Oh, but yeah, Friday the 13th. Everyone knows that one. Child's Play, Chucky.
Okay, but like the new one like is way worse.
Worse or better? It has Aubrey Plaza in it.
You're weird. That doesn't fix how bad it was.
Yeah, and I just kind of want to glance over these top ones because most people have seen them or heard of them.
Yeah.
But next one, Scream.
Oh, love Scream. It's so good. It literally.
It's the slasher film of slasher films. Insidious. Just put on the Insidious and Conjuring franchise was just put on Netflix. So go watch those if you want to watch something.
Annabelle in like that extended universe or something like.
The Insidious character universe.
Isn't it like the Conjuring and Annabelle connected or something? I swear.
So.
Some of these are like.
I think so. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of like slasher movies and jump scare movies, but anyways. Next one, The Grudge. Hold on, I don't think I've seen The Grudge.
You haven't seen The Grudge?
No.
The creepy little like. Well, if we're talking like if you're gonna talk about The Grudge, you can't really talk about the American version that much because like the Japanese versions are just so much better. I'm just being honest.
I think I know. Okay, I think I've heard of it.
Like the all white makeup, long hair, big eyes.
I got you. Never mind.
Yo,
I got it.
I'm here. Yeah.
The Ring.
Oh my god. When I first saw The Ring when I was little, I like peed myself because I thought I was gonna die, and I like had a little calendar ready, and every day I would cross off, and at the end of the 7th day, I told my mom like goodbye.
Actually.
Yeah. I was such a little piss baby. I was so afraid.
A Nightmare on Elm Street. Freddy, he just, he's there. He's in your nightmare.
Yeah, he's got those long, weird Wolverine fingers.
That's the first tier.
Yeah, all of those are pretty classic. I mean, not really. I'm not going to count the Conjuring and Insidious. They're pretty, they're alright for modern stuff.
Yeah, the first tier is mostly just slasher films, jump scare movies, that kind of stuff.
I mean, you start getting into exploitation a little bit with like...
I wouldn't.
Second tier, a little bit. I mean...
Like, second tier, definitely. Saw is,
Saw is
that's pretty graphic. Like, I mean, a lot of people, I was noticing in some of the comments on YouTube videos, TikTok videos, stuff like that, were saying like, wow, when I was younger, Saw freaked me out. I can't believe it gets that much worse than that.
Saw was like a cultural phenomenon. It's a lovely movie.
Yeah. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, starring Bruce Jenner. His face is messed up, dude. The Hills Have Eyes.
It's like cannibals. It's a cannibal movie. There's a lot of those. I don't know why people are so afraid of cannibals. Like, most of them, I think, are just like getting mad in England because they can't legally eat each other. The dude's like, "You can have my toe," and they're like, "No."
Government's like, "No, you can't do that."
It's a little weird.
Let's see what's next. House of a Thousand Corpses. Okay, I want to talk about this one a little bit
Yeah,
more.
go ahead. Go ahead.
I like House of a Thousand Corpses and the whole Firefly trilogy, the ones made by Rob Zombie.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people don't like them because they're just like overly sexual, but they're funny. Like Rob Zombie's a funny dude. And they have I can't remember his last name. First name's Sid. The guy who plays the clown in the first movie. Great. Love him.
Clown, yeah.
No, I mean it's a good movie. It's pretty graphic. Like the first time I watched it, I was like, oh yeah, that's like more graphic than I'm used to in a lot of movies. Which I mean, yeah, I can see why they put it on second tier. But no, I mean it's a pretty good movie. Go watch it. It's out on Netflix.
Or don't. I mean,
Or
it's
don't.
Rob Zombie.
Dude.
Hostel. I love Hostel. I think Hostel is so funny because it also terrified me. We were talking about going to Europe one year for like a school trip, and I was like, no, because I just watched Hostel. I was like, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, so whenever I'm like looking at vacations and stuff, I'm like, there's like, oh, well, you could stay in a hostel, and my mind just goes back to the movie Hostel. I'm like,
it's
no,
iconic.
no.
It really sticks with you.
Tusk.
Okay, can I just say I've seen a lot of really messed up things. I've seen some of like the things on the lower tiers on this just by accident, and when I was younger, I watched Tusk. Not too young. I mean, it's pretty recent, but oh my god, that just the costume they have him in, it makes me so deeply uncomfortable.
Yeah.
He really does kind of look like a walrus. In case you don't know, Tusk is kind of similar in vein to Human Centipede with how like weird and unsettling it is. This dude gets turned into a walrus. Very weird premise, but he's in like a walrus skin suit. Spoiler alert, he's a walrus.
Yeah. That's
very weird movie. Pretty funny though. Johnny Depp's in it for some reason.
Yeah, it's also tied. If you've seen the movie Yoga Hosers,
you probably haven't. Just gonna be honest, it's not very popular.
I've seen it like 3 times, and it gets better every time.
It's about little Nazi sausages. It's a very strange movie, but that's in the same cinematic universe. As Tusk.
I gotta say, the people who did the monsters for the movie, like the final boss monsters, they did a good job. I mean, it's artistic.
Jarring. It's uncomfortable, yeah.
No, they're funny. It's more funny than anything. I wouldn't really say it's all that scary.
So Human Centipede, that's a good one. That's pretty popular. A lot of people know about it.
Yeah, that's the one I saw in the comments. Was just people were talking about that one, and the most I saw out of any.
Yeah, I think it's a really weird cultural phenomenon how popular that got, and its little sequel and trilogy. I think it is. Isn't there 3 of them or something?
2?
Second one's about the dude who like watched the movie. That was pretty meta. I think there's a 3rd one. I don't.
There
really,
might be.
Who cares? But that got me into ass to mouth. No, I'm just kidding. Strange concept. If you haven't seen it, don't watch it if you're queasy. That's all I'll say.
Just don't watch it.
Yeah.
Midsummer, good movie.
Ari Aster. Oh, how I love that sweet boy.
Honestly, it is one of my favorite movies on this list. If not the favorite movie on this list.
Yeah. It's a good one. I don't know. Hereditary is also pretty good. They just do such different things. I think Midsummer, he said it's his breakup movie, and Hereditary is his family movie, which is pretty. I mean, those are pretty home-driven themes throughout the whole each movie. But
yeah,
I like Midsummer. I think it's pretty good film.
Yeah. So that's all on tier 2.
Tier 2. We're getting to the yikes films now, aren't we?
Getting into where I actually had to like research some of them and write down notes.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be referring to those a lot. So number 1 on tier 3 is Salo, the 120 Days of Sodom. It's an Italian movie. I want to say you can get it subtitled.
Yeah, I think you can. It's pretty popular.
Yeah.
It's a historical
It's about Italian fascist government, like taking scientists, kidnapping kids, and torturing them. I mean, it's pretty gross.
Yeah, the book is also just as deplorable. I think the main point of this movie is, I believe this was a real thing that happened.
Yeah.
During near the end of World War II, people with a whole lot of money banded together and hid away because they were just assuming they were going to die. So they took a bunch of kids with them, as rich people do, did things to them, and that's that. That's Sallow.
It's important to point out it did really happen, but this movie is not footage from that. This is a dramatic reenactment of what may or may not have happened.
All the actors were adults, right? Correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it was sexual. They had to make sure that everything was good and like you weren't getting cheese pizza when you bought this.
Everything on this list, this one is pretty historically significant, but you can probably just get the same amount of info from it as you can from a Wikipedia article than having to actually sit through it. If you really want to, by all means, go ahead. It's certainly a movie, but it's kind of hard to get through at times.
Yeah, I feel like that's just the theme of a lot of these movies on here. If you want to watch it, go ahead. It's just it takes a lot to stomach a lot of these. Martyrs is the next one. Martyrs, I hadn't heard of till I saw this list.
I enjoyed Martyrs. I watched it a really long time ago. Good movie, pretty violent. Some parts of it are a little bit difficult to get through. I think it's worth it. I think it's one of the better movies on tier 3.
Yeah. From what the synopses that I read was, there were some girls who were abused as children. The movie then takes place where they're trying to get revenge on their abusers, and then it just goes bad and they fall into another trap. And I don't want to get into it too much. But yeah, it's something I'd watch. I mean, it's nothing. I think tier 3 right now is it's not too bad. It's stuff that I wouldn't mind watching. I don't think it would bother me that much, but for some people, that kind of stuff is, a trigger for them. So don't want to talk about it. Don't want to go too in depth. Next one is Shuju Tsubaki. I think I definitely...
It's Shoujo.
Shoujo?
Yeah, I think.
There's a lot of Japanese movies on here, foreign films.
I'll do my best.
I'm going to butcher the names, I'm sorry, but that's just how it's going to be. So originally, it was a manga. They adapted it into an anime. But it's not a My Hero Academia anime. It's something. It was actually... So it was made in 1984. It was banned 8 years later in 1992 because a lot of governments found it too dark and depressing. Okay. It covered a lot of sensitive topics that, back in 1984, we're nowhere near where we are right now in the media and everything with how open people are. So this, it wasn't too bad. It's just back then.
Yeah, I find it interesting. A lot of... some of the films on the lower tiers are Japanese. It's interesting to see there seems to be like a cultural difference in terms of like violence and like committing to dark themes. I think a lot of that comes from just different cultures in general. A lot of these dark themes, at least early on in American film history, were kind of shunned and looked down upon because, hey, that's not very good and Christian boy of you. It's an interesting dichotomy of themes you got going.
Definitely. Next one is
Pink Flamingos, baby. Love this movie.
Made in 1972. It's
a trip. This movie's a trip.
It's honestly, it's funny. I think the reason it made this list is because it was just shocking, and then it's also it's pretty graphic. As far as it's mostly just like sexually graphic. It's not really violent all that much.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked still, but it's funny.
Oh, yeah. It's about pretty much like these like trailer trash people who are like the most depraved humans on Earth. And in one of the descriptions of the movie, they sell heroin to school children, kidnap and impregnate female hitchhikers. That's how they described it.
Can't forget about the eating real dog poop.
Yeah, there's a scene in the movie where one of the characters eats poop. And it's in the movie, it's portrayed as human, but in all reality, it was from a dog.
Does that make it better or
I don't,
worse?
dude, I don't know.
For me, I think it would be worse because I wouldn't have like the camaraderie of knowing it was a human. I think that makes it more gross. I mean, I wouldn't do either, but
Yeah.
going into like epistemology of eating dog shit.
Yeah, that one's a little messed up. A lot messed up.
Yeah.
Especially going back to, it was back in 1972. People were
Yeah.
not ready for that stuff.
Oh no.
That's like, I don't know.
That pushes all the boundaries. Speaking of pushing boundaries, next on the list is a Serbian film that. All right, that movie is a lot to take in. It's definitely not one of the most graphic ones. A lot of the stuff is off camera and implied, but it is very difficult to watch because of the themes that are implied.
It's one that a lot of people knew about. I was surprised. Like, a lot of people they said they've either heard of it or watched it. A lot of people. Yeah. It's like a shockumentary, except it's not an actual like documentary like a true shockumentary would be. It's all fake. And that's also, I feel, important to point out. At this level, everything is fake. Nothing was actually done. I mean, obviously the scenes were real, but it's all legal. No one's actually dying. No one's actually getting hurt. No one's actually...
A couple, like Cannibal Holocaust. I mean, a couple of these movies do have
but
legally moral, but you're fine to watch any of these. I wouldn't recommend some of them. There's a couple on this list that are good, I think. But at least with Tier 3, you don't really have to worry about real people getting harmed, except with one exception. Yeah,
but it was more... It's kind of just... Well, no, that one was fake.
Cannibal?
Yeah.
I guess we can talk about
we'll
that
talk
one
about
next.
that.
Yeah. So Cannibal Holocaust, there are... I believe it's Mondo, right?
The reason the movie was made was to exploit indigenous peoples, and just kind of like show that how they're quote unquote savage. Because I'm not gonna call them that because I don't believe that's true. But that's why it was made. It was to be like, oh hey, look at these people. They're not as developed as us and all that stuff, which is a category of films called Mondo films, which we'll get to later. I'll explain that a little bit more in depth once we hit that level. But this is kind of like just skimming the surface of that.
Real animals were hurt, and actually the director was arrested, I believe, because the pictures and videos were so graphic in the movie, everyone thought they were real. Yeah. So he had to have the actors and actresses come back on the stand for him and fight for his
They
trial.
They didn't release him from custody until they could prove that everyone in the film who died in the movie, like fake died, was alive. Because it was, I mean, back then, this was made in 1980. Back then, people hadn't really seen people dying in movies. It was
most of the stuff was off camera. This was very, very graphic.
And it looked like people were dying. This was back in 1980, like I said. They made a new version. I think it was 2017. I don't have the exact date written down. Called Green Inferno, which it had the kid who played Junie Cortez in Spy Kids in it.
No. Oh no.
But like grown up, and that one was
oh my God. Just as bad.
Yeah, it was just so with that one it was more high definition. So like with the budget they had to make that, it was pretty graphic.
Yeah.
That one was a little bit better. They actually treated the indigenous people they actually used in the movie like humans. They didn't exploit them or anything. Yeah. If you look at the behind the scenes for that, I really do recommend watching that one because I do like it. It actually has a story behind it. It's a little cheesy at the end, the ending of it, but it's a decent movie. They do have a behind the scenes where they were like in the village with these people talking to them. They couldn't really talk to them all that well because the language barrier, but the cast, the crew, they all got along with the tribes that they were filming with.
That's good.
And they didn't exploit them for it.
Yeah, I think that's a kind of a trope that's luckily dying, is like the indigenous people bad, they're so scary, when in reality the only reason they're being hostile is because you're walking in with sticks and prodding them with microphones.
Yeah, that's...
I mean, anybody would do that without any...
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if somebody walked into my house and was just chilling
New
here,
reality TV show?
I'd be like,
Can you leave?
what's going on? But no, I think Cannibal Holocaust was good. Green Inferno is better, just because the movie was ethically done, and that's really important. You don't want to exploit anyone for your own benefit.
As a lot of these directors seem to have forgotten.
Yeah.
Tetsuo, that's a cool movie.
The Iron Man.
Yeah.
Not Tony Stark. It is.
Everybody seemed to think this was about Robert Downey Jr. I regret to inform you, it's not. It's a pretty cool concept. This dude with like a metal fetish, basically. He loves metal. Yeah, baby.
I think it was lost in translation because there's no subtitles or anything for the movie. Everything I saw in a synopsis, it translated to metal fetishist.
Yeah.
But I don't think that was exactly it, because after watching it, that's not what it seemed like. It wasn't sexual, I don't think.
I don't know.
But
either way,
it's a weird concept.
Yeah, it's a buddy made out of metal, turning into metal, gets killed, I think.
So he was like, there was a guy who was part metal. And it's pretty bad, the costumes.
Well, I don't think they're that bad. It's an old movie.
Yeah.
What is it?
It was 1989.
Yeah, they don't look that bad.
Not for 89, no. But anyways, he was walking out into the street, a car hit him, and the guy in the car, he killed the original guy. The guy in the car turns into some like metal.
He gets the metal thing too. He starts turning into metal.
Yeah.
It's karma, dude. You gotta watch where you're going.
It's weird.
I think it's a cool concept.
No, it definitely is.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit, not like wholly, but a little bit in concept of like It Follows, where it's like a weird little disease passed between people that's kind of inevitable. There's that little encroaching doom kind of peeping behind your back. It's kind of a cool concept.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. I'd watch it again. Suicide Club, 2001. This one's a little bit more touchy. It wasn't a documentary. It's all fake, but it covered a pretty sensitive topic back in 2001 in Japan, when people were committing suicide at very high rates. It followed an investigator who went around investigating all these like mass suicides and all that stuff. I want to say this is the film that triggered a big craze in Japan, and what started people calling the suicide forest the suicide forest. At the base of Mount Fuji, there's a forest called Aokigahara it's known as the suicide forest.
Where a little fella named Jake Paul.
Logan Paul.
I get him confused.
I'm a strawberry.
Oh, get out of here, dude. Don't go doing that.
He's infamous for that.
Yeah,
if you don't know, look it up, because I don't want to give him
interesting
anything.
stuff about that forest.
No, it's definitely interesting. I don't want to say cool, because it's not.
It's not really cool.
It's interesting though, because a movie basically started this craze of people killing themselves. Stuff like that wasn't talked about in Japan a lot, and it still isn't.
It's like a real life Ring, dude.
Yeah, I wouldn't say the movie started making people killing themselves, but
there is like that kind of element of a trend coming, and those trends can kind of be unhealthy sometimes. You see it a lot with, like, I guess in general right now, models being super duper thin. It kind of passes over to people, and that whole societal drive.
Yeah. Moving on. The House That Jack Built.
Okay, can I don't like Lars. Lars von Trier. I think he's extremely pretentious. I think his movies are often very, very pretentious. What is it, Antichrist?
Yeah.
I don't want to see Willem Dafoe get his balls crushed.
I don't know about you. I kind of want to.
Oh, okay, all right. House of Jack Built feels a little bit less pretentious. It's kind of a cool movie. I enjoy it.
Yeah, a lot of people I noticed were saying that they have watched this.
Yeah.
Just because it's not super graphic. It is more recent. It's easy to find. It's on one of the streaming services. You can get it easily.
Yeah.
So
it's not. None of these are super hard to find right now. House that Jack Built is. I mean, I think the only reason it's on this tier is because it's pretty vivid in its descriptions, pretty like precise and accurate in how it goes through the motions of killing people, and I think it's an interesting study. It's kind of like a pseudo true crime. It really makes you feel like you're in the shoes of Jack as he goes kind of down this demented path of murder. It's interesting.
Yeah. No, it's a good movie. It's not bad like some of the other ones on here.
Yeah, shout out to that other list that had Mother on it.
Yeah. Yeah. So in my original TikTok, the one that inspired me to really make this podcast, I saw somebody else who posted a list that wasn't nearly as detailed as this list. And I was like, hey, maybe I should share this on TikTok. Maybe I'll go viral. And I ended up getting like 100,000 views on it. It was pretty cool.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Shout out TikTok.
Shout out my TikTok.
Sponsor? No, I'm kidding. We're not sponsored yet.
I wish.
We're not going to be sponsored. Let's go down to tier 4.
Yeah, going further
Dude,
down.
you kind of look, the little stick figure looks a little bit like Keanu Reeves.
A little bit. I don't want to think about Keanu Reeves in this, though. That makes me sad.
Oh, poor guy.
Starting out strong on this tier. So I'm going to kind of go a little bit out of order because there's 3 of these. It's a trilogy. They're like scattered around this tier, but I'm just going to group them all together because they are all the same. It's called the Vomit Gore Trilogy. It is just as interesting as the name sounds.
Really? Because that sounds pretty interesting. I don't think... yeah, I don't think you guys want to watch this. This is pretty gross.
Yeah. I'm not sure of the exact... I think the order goes... So, the first one is called Slaughtered Vomit Dolls.
Yeah, that's a cute name. Oh,
yeah.
Is this the one with the cute little like crayon drawings?
Yes.
Oh my god. Okay, yeah, you're gonna look these up if you do. You're gonna see like cute little crayon drawings. Do not watch the cute little crayon.
No.
The one of them's a grasshopper. I watched it, guys. It's not a grasshopper. It's vomit and puke.
Yeah.
That's the same thing, but like.
So
Ugh.
the first one, Slaughtered Vomit Dolls, was made in 2006. It's about a runaway stripper turned to a prostitute. Yeah. She starts having like weird hallucinations and like Satan stuff. It's weird.
Oh, okay.
You kind of gotta watch it to understand.
Why would you say that?
Don't
People are gonna
watch
wanna-
it.
Yeah, don't do these. I can promise you, it ain't worth it. Maybe like little synopses.
Look them up on IMDb if you want something more in depth.
Yeah.
But I don't
reviews
feel
are pretty
like
funny. I think for most of these really screwed up ones.
Second one is Regurgitated Sacrifice, made in 2008. It follows the same girl. She makes a pact with Satan and commits suicide to where her soul is like turned into 2 demons. They lure women to their hotel room and like torture them and kill them. It's sexual too.
That's pretty interesting that she
it's
turns
not.
into 2. I wonder what that like. Do you think there's really big
wonder-
implications about that?
I wonder what the symbolic meaning the
Yeah,
director
there's
was
probably
going
some
for there.
deep symbolism there. I think maybe with like the puke too, it means something.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Speaking of puke, last one in the trilogy in 2010 was Slow Torture Puke Chamber. And I think it's a prequel, actually. I think they took the time to go for a prequel.
That's kind of cool.
Because she's back alive.
Oh, really? Wow. Or maybe the demons like join together.
Perhaps.
What
She talks about her childhood while she is being tortured.
Oh, yeah. Me too. I feel like that's something I would do.
It is the final part in the trilogy, thank God. People don't like it. It really makes them uncomfortable. I see why. But this one, especially out of the three, the director really went for some oomph on this last one, and he gave it. People saw it. It was bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of... So what we're getting into now is a lot of really exploitative films where the whole point's just a shock. Here, I think 4, maybe some in 5, you still have some storyline, some semblance of a narrative pieced together, but a lot of these are just meant to make you puke or make somebody that likes puke feel a little randy.
Yeah. So they're all just made to make people feel uncomfortable. That's the whole goal, especially when you get down to tier 6, the Mondo films.
I think
that is the only goal of them.
There is some validity in art making you uncomfortable. I'm not going to define art or anything because, like, that's just what you make of it. But really, a lot of these get to the point, for me at least, where I'm like, I'm tapping out, dude. I don't need to watch somebody puke onto someone else who pukes onto someone else who's split in half and filled with little creatures. That's a little bit much.
Yeah, no. Definitely passing a line with this tier to where... I talked to a lot of people when trying to plan out this podcast, and most people were saying once you get past 3, they don't see the artistic value in it, which art is subjective, but
if you see the artistic value in puke, slaughter, torture, babe, sex, 2000, good on you, honestly. I'm kind of impressed.
I'm just gonna move on. I'm gonna try to be somewhat brief with these. I want to go into more detail than
with some of the interesting ones, but we don't probably need to discuss like.
Oh God, no.
Yeah.
Next one on my list is Life and Death of a Porno Gang. So this one I have some pretty detailed notes on. Not detailed. It has a plot, which is. It was a relief to see some of these had a plot so that I could actually write something down rather than just like blood, puke, poop, pee, haha.
All the body functions.
Yeah, all of them. So this one is about a man who is looking for a job, and he finds his brother has a porn cabaret, is what I wrote down. I'm thinking this is the one where it's just like a strip club, except instead of stripping, they just make porn.
Okay.
So the police find out about this, and they're like, hey, stop that. But they can't legally make them stop doing this. So they go to the media, and they're like, hey, they're doing this bad stuff. Put that on the news and tell people about it so they don't make any money off of this. So they get bad publicity. Publicity.
Yeah, that's the word.
There it is. They get bad publicity, and they have to leave. So they leave the country. While they're leaving the country, they meet a German journalist who they hook up with, and he kind of like joins their team. They're in Germany, if that wasn't clear. And they
wait. From the start, they're in Germany?
No. They're in the United States.
Oh.
Now
they're
in
in porn
Germany.
cabaret in the U.S.?
Yeah.
Oh, that makes a whole lot more sense. Yeah. I guess the whole, like, there's a lot of weird BDSM aligned stuff in Germany, really. Like, I think sex is a lot more open, I guess, down there. Yeah, I remember there's this one dildo company that makes a lot of weird stuff, and one of them is just, like, a pipe. It's, like, German underground sewer pipe. Love that website. Yeah, shout out. I don't remember your name, but you make good stuff. It's funny.
They start making videos in Germany.
Okay.
I want to hit on the fact this is all cinematic. There's nothing real about this movie. They start making snuff porn with suicidal people.
Okay.
That are actors.
Yeah.
This movie did not have anybody actually dying.
Well, yeah, that's not till...
Not till later.
Yeah.
I will express
when
that is.
Yeah, just kind of assume I mean, if you can find it on Google, chances are there's relatively few instances of real people dying. I mean, you can find things like, I guess, would faces count? Does faces have any real stuff?
Yeah. No, it's all is. Well,
Okay.
we'll get to that later.
Yeah. But yeah,
it's.
So my
shock
question
value.
here, like, they made this great story about like the freedom of sexuality, and then they went suicidal snuff porn.
Yeah.
Why?
It had
So
it
close.
had potential.
I mean, I guess there is some intrinsic merit to making some statement about the fear of sexuality in other countries, because that's probably what this is capitalizing on, that weird little taboo demon in the corner that's afraid of all the things, your deepest desires. But in reality, it's like, it's a hit piece on German sexuality. That's not very cool, bro.
Yeah, no, it was. I mean, you can find some artistic value in it, but again, it's just art is subjective, and I may not see what somebody else sees in it,
Yeah, sure.
and that's fine.
Art is subjective till the last two tiers. All right.
Next one, August Underground. This one also kind of had a plot.
Okay.
Little bit less, but still a plot. So it was a serial killer that went on a rampage.
Ooh.
And it was all like, it was kind of not, I wouldn't say found footage type thing. More like they posted it on the internet. Not real. Again.
Yeah. So is this kind of like, not like Blair Witch, but the Blair Witch promotional material, where it was all like, this is real stuff, kind of stuff like that, where it's just passed around with no context and everyone assumes it?
Yeah. That's basically what this was. So a serial killer went on a rampage. He found a filmer who he just kills a dude in front of, like brutally murders him. And the filmer's just kind of chilling there like, cool, I don't care. I think it's like what the edgy kids in my comments on that video want to be.
Dude, he must have been like a film business major, just dead, nothing behind those eyes.
Yeah, that'll do it to you. But no, I mean, it was. I'm not gonna say good, because I did not like it. But it wasn't bad. It had a somewhat of a story. Next one is Snuff 102. This one I liked.
I was a little bit interested in your notes here, because all caps, you said
All
it has
caps.
a moral to the story.
It does. So this one is very important, and I'm going to come back to this later.
Yeah.
I will explain it now, but I'll come back to it later once we get towards the end. This one is about a reporter for the news. She does a segment on snuff films. If you don't know what snuff films are, it's real videos of people dying.
Yeah, they're all over the internet. You're gonna find
Live leak.
Yeah, live leak is
the
pretty
one
common.
Everyone knows. It's real people actually dying.
And there is like a very, morbid curiosity is a pretty popularized idea that people like to watch these things, not enjoying them. Not everybody. I mean, some people might, and I guess power to you. Yikes, but there is some value to at least the brain wanting to see these. I think it's a little bit interesting. It kind of reminds me of that like Call to the Void thing.
Yeah.
It's like a psychological thing where your brain imagines horrible things to remind you not to do those things. Like you'll be standing in front of a cliff and your brain is like, it'd be kind of funny if you just jump right now.
Yeah.
Like,
or like holding a baby and like,
what if
maybe
you
I
dropped
should
it?
Throw it against the wall.
Like it's a very real thing. I think it's called Call of the Void, and it's a weird little brain thing to kind of keep you on your toes. A little bit like you see a snake in the woods, but it's a stick. Your brain's like, that's a snake, that's gonna kill me. No, it's a stick, but
it
keeps you on
going.
your toes, like that flight or flight kind of instinct. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I do like this one. I'm not gonna like go super into detail about it, but the basis is a reporter. She does a article on snuff films, and she just dives headfirst into it, goes completely down the rabbit hole.
It's kind of like you.
Yeah, that was kind of like me with this podcast. But it doesn't end well for her. It really, really doesn't. And that's why I think this one is important. There's somewhat of a moral to the story. Don't look this stuff up. Don't go seeking it out because you will find it. Anything you want on the internet, you will find. Don't. Just leave it alone.
Yeah, you can, but like if you're not prepared or if you're going to be extremely uncomfortable, please know your own boundaries. Don't go looking for dead people if you know dead people is going to make you vomit and cry on the floor, because we don't need you to be making your own slow torture puke chamber. That nobody wants to see that. I mean, some people want to see that, but you don't want to have that. You don't want to be the star of that.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Moving on. Guinea Pig, The Devil's Experiment. This one is
Japanese, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's about really, there's a series. So The Devil's Experiment is one in the series of guinea pig films. This one is about a young girl that's tortured. There's a semi-infamous scene in it where they like pierce her retina with something. It's about like a group of Japanese youths that kidnap a girl and torture her. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty messed up. A lot of these films are really focusing and honing in on like the torturing women aspect in particular. There's not a lot of movies about torturing men, and I think that I don't know, it's kind of weird. It definitely reflects a lot of societal things going on, but I think definitely these films kind of showcase like the brutalization of women in media. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. So I mean they're all pretty much the same, that whole guinea pig series.
Yeah.
Just shock value. That's all I could really see in it.
All right, necromantic.
This one, okay, so this one, my notes, I laughed at my own joke way too hard here. So just kind of being simple about it, there's a street cleaner. The street cleaner cleans up horrific accidents, crime scenes, car accidents, stuff like that.
Yeah.
He sees a dead body, and he's like, he thinks, let me take this dead body home to my wife.
I mean, who else is going to use it, really? It's just laying there.
He takes it home to his wife. He thinks, hey, my wife would like this. She would like for me and her to, be sexually pleasured by a charred corpse. So he takes it home.
That? Like
this street cleaner.
Okay. Yeah.
So he takes it home. He and his wife are pleasured by the corpse. He was correct.
They're doing the dirty. They're down bad.
They were. This one it's a porn. I mean, that's what it is. I watched it. I wish I didn't.
It's kind of sad. He really does get cucked by the corpse in the end, doesn't he?
He does.
His wife likes the corpse more. Like, imagine being so much of an unlikable human that you bring home a dead body and your partner's like, wow, I like the corpse more, bro.
Yeah,
that's gotta hurt.
If you look it up, I believe on IMDb, there's some pictures from the movie, and it looks funny because I mean you can obviously tell it's a prop corpse, but there's just like a woman in like lingerie just posing with a corpse, and the corpse has like a fake dick sticking out, and
it's so strange. It is so very strange.
It's funny. Next one, Viva la Muerte, which stands for. Or translates to
life of death or life
of death, I think.
Probably.
I don't think it's of.
Sorry guys, I'm only an intro to Spanish 1. Can't help you out here too well.
Live for death.
Something like that. Anyways,
yeah. My notes here are interesting. Kid's dad arrested for being a dirty commie at the end of the Spanish Civil War.
Okay, so what you're saying is like this little kid watches his dad gets taken away because he wanted like human rights, probably.
Yeah.
Not actually a commie, but you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
The kid's mom is a fascist sympathizer. So the kid's mom and the kid's dad already are not like seeing eye to eye.
Yeah, that's gotta be a rocky marriage, really. You got a communist and a fascist.
Yeah. Well, the dad was arrested, so he was taken away. So
sad.
So the kid, he has Oedipal thoughts, is what the synopsis says.
Oh, not edible, guys. You got to think with your Freud brain. Okay, so
Freud.
him and his mom do the do?
They don't. He just has like
Dreams?
about it, fantasies.
That's a little strange.
It's interesting.
I'm not too interested, if I'm being honest. I'm not that interested.
I again don't see the artistic value, but hey.
Yeah, I feel like it tried to say something and then like
Didn't.
went off the rails a little bit.
Yeah. It started out, I thought it was gonna be like super political. Nope. I don't remember exactly how it ended because I don't think I made it to the end.
That's fine.
I couldn't.
I don't blame you.
But no, it's interesting. It's weird. Next one, Where the Dead Go to Die.
I have seen clips of this. It's so bad.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's about a dog that takes kids on rides to hell.
It's like really poorly animated too.
Very poorly animated.
Like not even in like a stylistic way, right? It's like 3D CG like.
Oh
crappy.
yeah, it's like if you've ever seen the Elmo with a knife like laughing and there's like fire behind him, like really poorly edited in. It's like that, except imagine
That's
a dog
awesome.
with kids riding on him.
That's so cool. This sounds like a great movie.
It is animated.
Yeah, isn't it like just like noise music in the background too?
Yeah, like industrial noise. I feel like a lot of these directors, producers, whatever, they were just like, what would make a movie scary? Industrial noise. Just machines going around. Like boom. Just put some gears turning in there. That'll get people scared. And it's not.
I'm a little bit scared of gears. The way they like fit together. It reminds me of an intimacy I can never have.
Pinion gears. Scare me.
For real.
How do they work? But no, it's just pretty funny.
It's bad. It's funny. It's funny bad.
Yeah.
You know.
Melancholy der Engel. It's German, I believe.
Okay.
The angel is the last two words. I want to say melancholy literally transfers to melancholy.
Something like sadness of the angel or
maybe.
something.
Yeah. It's just gore.
Really? Oh.
Yeah.
Is there any semblance of a plot, or is it just...
No. Well, a little bit. There's some dudes who die.
Okay.
But, like, as they're dying, they're, like, reliving their life. Except their life was bad.
Okay,
so they're just, like, reliving all the bad moments of their life.
Like Bizarro World.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's
That's an interesting
worse.
concept if it wasn't, like, just gore.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of a cool idea.
They relive their lives, but worse.
Kind of reminds me a little like Silent Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Philosophy of a Knife.
Yeah.
It's 4 hours long. I didn't watch the whole thing. I was trying to get this podcast done in a reasonable amount of time, and to sit there and watch 4 hours of just the same stuff over and over again, I couldn't justify it.
Yeah.
I got the gist of it though. It's a docudrama. It was scripted. They talked to a real nurse from the war, from World War II.
Okay.
Got her perspective on the war, what happened to her, specific events that took place.
Which side was she on?
Japanese.
Oh, okay. So like human experimentation and stuff going on? Okay.
So it was from the nurse's perspective, seeing the doctors perform like atrocities on prisoners, soldiers, stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's probably some actual value in there.
Definitely. No, I think that one's good because it shows the importance of learning history so that you don't repeat history.
Maybe not 4 hours next time, sweetheart.
Definitely not, because it's just the same stuff over and over and over, and it's really gory. So I feel like a lot of people, they can't handle 4 hours of just people getting limbs chopped off and sewn onto other body parts, and people freaking out and like foaming at the mouth and
juvenile crime makes me so angry.
Made in 1997.
This is Junko Futura's story from Japan. She was just a schoolgirl that got kidnapped by some dudes who were involved in mafia.
Yeah,
in Japan.
What What are they called? I'm drawing a blank here.
That's fine. Anyways, she gets like, what is it, 44 days?
Yeah.
Tortured,
44 days.
brutally tortured, treated like actual garbage, and they just get off scot-free because they're juveniles.
Yeah, they were determined to not be, capable of thinking right because they were juveniles.
Yeah, it turns out they've all been probably, I think, at least 2 of them have been rearrested since for violent
3.
crimes. The issue here is a lot of the police interactions with the family. While she's missing, they seem disinterested. They go to the kids' houses. They hear screaming. They got complaints of like torturous noises happening.
Yeah.
They do nothing. And in the end, she gets encased in concrete.
Yep.
And they just get out scot-free.
Completely.
It's so messed up.
Yeah, and the thing. So this is dramatized reenactment of what happened.
A true story. Yeah.
Everything that they did in the movie happened in real life. It's this one does have some value to it.
This is just a tragic story. If you are really interested, I recommend looking into it. Just be aware it's very messed up. There are a lot of things that make you question people and a lot of problems going on that just don't make any sense.
All right, so we're now on tier 5. This is where it starts to turn.
Yeah, this is where you blur the line between art and just pornography, torture stuff. It's gonna get nasty.
Yeah. First one on this tier is Women's Flesh, My Red Guts. I don't have many notes on this one because I did not watch it. I just kind of took notes off of plots, other people's videos.
I can respect it.
Stuff like that, yeah. It says self-harm with a toothbrush sexually. So she like mutilates herself.
Yeah, you don't gotta go too deep into it, I think.
I'm leaving it at that.
Yeah, that movie's that. All right.
Yeah. Ostermontag, which that German I know translates to Easter Monday.
Oh, really? I thought it'd be like montage. Okay. What is it?
No. I don't know why it's called Easter Monday. I don't know. It has nothing to do about Easter, nothing to do with Monday. It's also known, however, as Snuff Holocaust. And I spit on your fucking grave, bitch.
Now that's a title.
That is a title.
Yeah. That sounds like those really shitty things we always find at the exchange, like those horrible vinyls.
Terrible records that are like made by some indie metal band.
It's
who
like
think
their name is just like scribbles.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So please tell me about I Spit on Your Fucking Grave, bitch.
This one has a plot.
Of course it does.
So there's a guy. He has 2 stepsisters who are twins. I'm just gonna use because I didn't write down the names because it has no value to you guys. Stepsister 1 and stepsister 2. That's what I'm.
Okay.
That's how I'm referring to him. He falls in love with stepsister 1.
Yeah.
Stepsister 1 does not like him. Replaces herself with stepsister 2, her twin sister.
The old switcheroo. It's
very convenient.
Sounds like an episode of Frasier, bro.
Yeah, it's very convenient that they're twins.
All right.
So she switches with her twin. He tries to kill the second stepsister so she won't get in the way of him and stepsister 1, but they're switched. So he accidentally kills the one he loved.
It's so tragic. God, what a romantic. This is like Romeo and Juliet. This is modern Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah. He goes to jail for the murder. He breaks out of jail because he was given a life sentence.
Good.
But he's like, I need revenge on her.
Did you just kill her?
Yeah, he breaks out and kills the second stepsister.
Bro.
It's pretty just like...
what kind of
super
lame
predictable.
Ending? It's not even happy.
Yeah.
Should have been like...
I don't care if it has a happy ending.
I do. What a beautiful storytelling. That's like some Hitchcock stuff. All right.
Next one, Girl Hell, 1999. Made in 1999. What do you know?
Wow, that's crazy. Wow. I thought he had 1,998 movies before this one. Okay.
It's just exploitation films of women.
How many of these do we need before we switch to like breaking a dude's nuts? You got to get bored eventually, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this was made in '99, and people are still making
Jeez Louise.
exploitation films with women. There's a theme of a baseball bat. The killer uses a baseball bat to kill people and like bludgeon their faces.
Did it have like nails or?
I don't know. I didn't watch it.
No.
I didn't really feel like. I didn't feel like watching Virgin Hell 1999.
Yeah, I get that.
But yeah, it's just exploitative.
Okay, My Chan's Daily Life. So
the movie.
Okay, so it's originally a manga. Isn't it like she like regrows everything in her body, so they just eat her all the time?
Yeah.
Okay, that's such a funny concept though. If it
they
wasn't like
done
horrendous,
it so much better.
Yeah.
But nope.
I think that's hilarious. They like eat her because everyone on the internet is a cannibal creep.
Yep. Eccentric Psycho Cinema. This was the first one that I couldn't find on IMDb. It had an IMDb page, but it was like a fan-made thing.
Okay.
So like it was just there because it existed. There was no information about it, no pictures, no reviews, no nothing. So I had to go further than just IMDb, which is what I was using up until this point, and I felt comfortable doing that. Like I'm not gonna see anything that I don't want to see. With this one, that changed it. It's a 7-film series made in 1998.
Is that like a septilogy? Septilogy?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And what do you know? It's another exploitation film. The alternate title is Bottled Vulva, Bank Teller Narinko.
Okay.
Narinko. Narinko is a type of Romanian AK.
Cool.
Maybe I'll make a podcast on Romanian AKs one day. I could talk about that for like 5 hours, dude. I could talk for an hour just about the front trunnion.
What is a trunnion? Okay.
That's for another episode.
I don't want to hear about trunnion. I want funyuns right now, bro. All right.
But yeah, it's something.
Tumbling Doll of Flesh.
Yeah.
That's a good... I kind of like that title.
It's a good title.
Yeah.
Made in 98.
Is it just the same thing, pretty much?
My first note on this is all of these movies are literally the same in all caps.
Oh, but this one's found footage, right?
It was.
Castration. So this one has males in it, too?
It does.
All right, I'm down for the egalitarianism. This is a progressive exploitation film.
Movie. And farting.
Dude, I'm like 12. I still laugh every time I hear a fart. I feel like if I watched these movies, I would like just the audio, like screaming, and then just like I would laugh.
Yeah, an official, like a professional film critic, said that this movie is as savage as they come.
Which film? Like, who's out here watching this?
A film
going
critic.
Like, oh,
a professional film critic.
This is such a pretentious torture film. I quite hate it. It's quite dubious. It's so pretentious. Yeah, dude. Okay.
Necrophiles.
The Necrophiles is the funniest thing on this list. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
Dude, it's like a baby doll on a string running towards people and eating them. It's the funniest thing
It's
ever.
really good. It's on YouTube. This one, you can watch
it.
It's
a joke, and it's great. Yeah. It's hilarious.
It's on YouTube. Watch it. I mean, honestly, this one, I feel comfortable telling people to watch it.
It's funny. Yeah.
It is.
It's horrendous and awful, but it's the funniest. Like, when you're watching and looking up all of these things, this is like a nice little break.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Next one, the Gateway Meat.
All right, let me guess. Dude tries people meat and is like, yeah, and then he starts killing people and harvesting meat.
No.
Oh, come on.
Not
you can't just have the title called Gateway Meat and it's not like
close.
He accidentally eats like a little chunk of flesh on his Subway sandwich, turns into like a crazed lunatic murderer cannibal.
That would be a better movie. You should make that.
I'm not going to make that.
So it's about Satanists.
Oh. What's the meat?
This guy has an Adam Sandler complex, so he is the main character in his own film.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I don't know his name. I don't really care to know his name.
Okay. I respect it.
They try to open a portal to hell. He has to like kill people in order to open the portal.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That's usually how it goes.
He ends up murdering people in front of his daughter, and his daughter's just chilling there like, okay.
I love when, like, in all these horrible movies, when, like, there's just a character that's supposed to be important and the actor's, like, half asleep. Like, bro, I've been watching people get, like, torn in half for half an hour. I just want to go home. They're, like, eating a sandwich in the corner, like, oh, yeah, keep killing him, Dad. I'm really scared.
Yeah. Next one, The Taming of Rebecca. This is where it starts just... degeneracy kicks in. Made in 1982. God, it's weird to believe that this is like so recent, or not recent, so old.
Yeah.
Just because of how graphic it is. So the main character is a porn star. She runs away from her house to get away from her abusive father. That seems like a very common theme in a lot of these.
Yeah.
It's what's known as a roughie film.
That's a type of fish I frequently eat.
No, not RUFFY. ROUGHIE.
Oh, okay. Is it tasty?
No.
Oh, damn.
It's like hardcore torture porn.
Oh, okay.
That's
So, like, instead of saw, using, like,
not necessarily
machines.
torture.
Okay. Like gory stuff?
Not gory. Just like rough.
Oh, like difficult to sit through?
No. Like going hard at it.
Oh. Okay.
Like
So
no
I just want to
lube.
describe the motion he just did in his chair. He moved his hands back and forth while making like a weird little face. So if you don't understand what that means, they're roughing it, you know.
Like rough, no lube, nothing. Just go into town.
Yeah. Thanks.
It's bad.
Thanks for
I'm just gonna-
elaborating.
Now you know what that term means. I don't have to explain it anymore. When I say that, that's what it means. Because tier 7, there's a lot of them.
Sexy time.
Speaking of a new tier, we are on tier 6.
Yay!
These are all a lot of shockumentary films, Mondo films, which
Yeah, we can probably just go through these really quick.
they're all the same. They're all exploitative of gore, violence that
People
actually
dying.
happens
Yeah.
to push an agenda. So a Mondo film is... I'll start with Mondo Cane because that's the one that started all of them. That's where it got the name Mondo film. My note says good. I'm not going to use the word good to describe it. It shows humanity at its worst. This one doesn't really try to push any kind of agenda. It's on YouTube. Go watch it. It's not super violent. It doesn't try to push any kind of agenda. It just shows humanity at its worst. There's weird rituals and stuff.
Okay.
Which I guess you can kind of see is trying to push an agenda of like this group of people
Ritualistic
bad.
culture bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's-
Traces and Faces of Death is pretty cool. Not cool, but if you remember earlier, we were talking about Live Leak. These are just Live Leak compilations, not recent. A lot of the
Well, no. So this was going on before Live Leak was.
yeah,
even a
this
thing.
is like pre-internet.
Faces
stuff.
of Death was made in 1978. Traces of Death was made in 1993.
I believe it's what Faces is mostly fake, Traces is mostly real.
No, they're both real.
Okay.
There are some fake scenes in both of them, but most of them are real.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, it's just the Live Leak videos before Live Leak was popular. Not popular. Before Live Leak was even around.
Which, if I'm being honest, is a little bit impressive that they were able to compile everything together, considering there
A
was
lot
no
of it was
real
news.
easy way.
A lot of it was news clips.
Okay. Imagine showing that on the news. That's hilarious.
And then there's also
That's crazy.
Arquivos de Morte. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It is the Spanish version of Faces of Death.
Is it all different,
I don't know.
content-wise?
I didn't watch it.
Oh.
There was everything also was in Spanish.
Yeah, that makes
So I
sense.
couldn't really tell.
Might just be the translation of the name.
Could
Who
be.
knows?
It is separate on the list though.
Yeah.
Mondo Cane.
Already
I went
talked
over
about.
that.
Yep.
But then let's get into the Mondo films. Africa Adio, I would say, is the worst. I do want
Yeah.
to. I'll go ahead and explain it, and I want to address something. So it is inherently racist. They took footage from very niche rituals that go on in very small parts of Africa and certain tribes, and we're like, hey, these people are like terrible cannibals. They kill people for rituals and all this. They're bad. This is why imperialism is good. This movie was made in 1966, so right around the time of imperialism. It was used as this. Look, imperialism is going on. This is why it's justified, which we know now is not. Fuck you, Margaret Thatcher. But yeah, it's just inherently racist.
I think a lot of these next couple we're talking about are basically pissing contests of which side can make it better, and they're not very successful in that they're not popular, obviously. We can talk about like Buried in the Sand is justifying America's intervention in the Middle East.
It's the exact same thing, except they were like, hey, Bush just threw millions of Americans at the Middle East. Here's why it's good. Spoiler alert, it's not good. They showed, beheadings, stuff that is happening. But like it's not really. We don't need millions of Americans. I'm trying not to get super political. We don't need millions of Americans over there fighting, because they're not fighting against the stuff they were showing in Buried in the Sand. They're fighting for oil.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not trying to get super political, but these films are political. I kind of got to put something in there. That was pretty much all of the Mondo films on this tier.
Well, The Dark Side of Porn kind of counts.
So The Dark Side of Porn...
It's England's anti-porn film, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
it's trying to show that porn's bad. It examines the industry, but it shows extremely negative parts. There are a lot of very bad parts of the sex industry, but this victimizes and criminalizes everyone involved rather than showing the actual victims of the situation. It makes everyone out to be the villain, which is just blatantly false.
Yeah. No, it's... I believe it was partially funded by the British government, if not completely. When I was looking it up, it said that it was started in 2005, but it just had 2005 dash, and then there wasn't a date. So is it kind of just open-ended? Like the British government at any time could be like, let's make more
a sequel.
Let's make more movies about anti-porn.
Yeah. It's a pretty common sentiment, I think, with a lot of these like anti-porn things. It's just so super graphic, horrible things, and then like that's not 90% of the industry. It's interesting.
Yep. Next up is Orozoko the Embalmer, made in 2001 by, I'm gonna butcher this, Surasaki Kiyotaka. So he is a corpse photographer. Interesting job title. That would be there's a lot of images and videos of autopsies, murders. Everything in this is real, but he worked with the police, so you don't have to worry about legality of watching any of this. It's fine. He also made 2012 film Junk Films, which is the aftermath of bad stuff, combat, disasters, accidents, stuff like that.
Are they related at all, or is it just
no? It's
separate?
Not really related. This was more kind of just like casualties of war, accidents, tsunamis, earthquakes, stuff like that. Interesting, really interesting. It's kind of cool to see how this guy, so he started as a photographer helping police and stuff, and then he kind of just like turned it into his own art form, and it's interesting to see how he can look at this kind of stuff as art.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a cool concept for a dead body photographer. There's not a lot of the times, in like TV shows like NCIS and stuff, it's really sensationalized, but this guy kind of brings a realistic, gritty look at it. Yeah. And while it might be disgusting, it's still somewhat interesting. I think it's kind of a cool idea for a movie.
For sure, yeah. Let's see.
What else?
Next
Banned
on
from
this tier-
television.
Yep. It's. I don't know why it's this far down on the list. I think because the creator of the list just kind of said, well, I mean, it is real stuff happening, but in my opinion, it's not as bad as a lot of the other stuff on this list.
Is this like the CCTV one and stuff like that?
Yeah. So, I
I
mean,
don't know. So this movie, isn't it just like compilations of bad stuff happening on the news?
it's mostly gore. I think there was like one or two scenes of like actual death, but it was like helicopter images from a 1995 camera from 1,000 feet up, whatever.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think that's, I don't know, it belongs here. It's got a nice little place next to junk films, really.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's similar. It's just less quality cameras, most likely.
Yeah. I'd put it closer to like Traces and Faces of
Okay,
Death.
yeah.
Just because.
Little compilations and stuff. That's,
Yeah.
yeah, same kind of thing. What else?
I mean,
Black Metal
it's-
Veins.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This one, interesting. It follows 5 heroin addicts and their.
Are they real heroin addicts?
Yes.
Okay.
So it gets interesting. I mean, I think it does have value.
Yeah, but I feel like this is like
The wrong way to
very
do it.
exploitative, following people around. Like, doesn't this movie show somebody dying? Or
One of them-
overdosing?
One of them overdoses, and I
Okay.
don't think they clarified if he survived.
Wow. Yeah, that's this is pretty. This I know this one's hard to get through. I've seen a little bit of it. It's
Yeah, I've
difficult.
seen some. It's yeah. It's real. It happens.
yeah.
I just kind of put you can imagine what goes on because there's no need to really get super deep into it. You can watch it if you want. Just a warning, it does get really into some touchy subjects, but whatever floats your boat.
All right, we're down on the depths, huh?
Yep,
We're
we
getting
are
there.
tier 7.
Don't watch this stuff. Do not watch this stuff.
Yeah, so in my I want to clarify and not really apologize, but kind of apologize. In my TikTok, I said the last 2 tiers are just like illegal, like do not watch them. Not really, but still don't watch the last 2 tiers. The
It's
last
better to
tier,
be safe than sorry.
This I think is okay.
7?
7 is
Okay,
fine.
yeah.
8 is a huge gray area.
Yeah, don't do 8. I mean, I don't know what you
We'll
would
get
want
to it then when we touch down there.
Yeah,
Tier
7
7
is mostly
porn.
illegal.
No,
yeah,
it's legal.
Mostly legal. I'm sorry. I
It's
misspoke.
porn. You type them into Google, it's gonna take you to porn websites.
Yep.
I did it last night. Don't just save yourself some time. Don't. I'll kind of go over some of
Yeah,
them.
we'll go over a couple of them quickly. There's a couple that are pretty funny, at least. So
Death to Kafar. This one I think belongs on 6 because it's a Mondo film,
okay.
basically. They go showing like the brutality of Muslim extremism.
Okay. Was
And,
this
like-
made by like Americans?
I believe so.
Okay. Yeah.
But it is pornographic, so I can see why they put it down here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they're just kind of like, hey, Muslim bad, don't do that. So it doesn't really.
it's kind of the
it's not
same
good.
thing with the Sands movie. There's a clear agenda behind it, and watching it, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah. Guso Milk 1 to 4.
There's 4 of them, of course.
So this one was actually kind of interesting because it kind of had the effect of 2 Girls 1 Cup, where like back in 2008, everyone was like on YouTube reacting to 2 Girls 1 Cup.
Okay. Yeah.
There's a lot of people now who are like reacting to Guso Milk 2, and they're just watching it. They're like, ooh. I didn't watch it.
Kind of what we're doing, huh?
Yeah.
Less vomit though.
I didn't watch it though.
Yeah, we don't need to make Slow Torture Puke Chamber 2.
Yeah. So I clicked on it. No, I didn't click on the video. I clicked on a website talking about the video. The image I saw wasn't something I wanted to see. It's just
All right. You don't got I can trust you.
piss and poo fetish. That's it.
That's
That's
sounds
it.
about right.
UNKB002. Same thing. It is accessible on Google. Don't.
Unless you're into that, we're totally. You know what?
I'm not kink shaming.
Yeah, not gonna kink shame, but
if you're not into that,
Don't watch it.
just
I
skip
can't-
over it.
yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Channel 309. This is kind of cool. This feels like some like art student's art project.
It does.
A lot of these like creepy curse videos you'll find on YouTube are mostly made by film students trying to make creepy things for their projects, and this kind of feels a lot like that.
This one I couldn't watch. I mean, I could if I really wanted to, but I don't want to. It's porn, and that being the case, you have to buy it on DVD because it was made in 2015. That's weird.
Yeah.
I'd expect it to be older because you have to buy it on DVD. You can't get it online.
From what I understand, it's pretty gory, so it might be some legality in the country it was produced in.
Could be. But I mean, there's disabled people. The way they edit it is like the Nightmare Fuel style.
Yeah,
where it's
like jump cuts, creepy black and white with that weird music playing in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the website you have to buy it from is super shady. Yeah. I went on it. I was getting like a bunch of notifications from my ad blocker like, hey, we blocked 500 ads in 3 seconds. Like, what is it trying to do to my computer?
It's trying to get you to buy Channel 309.
I guess. Squirmfest, made in 1989. This one is.
Golden oldie.
It's old. It's the same thing as Guso Milk, UNKB002, except there's bugs this time.
Oh, cool.
The girl eats bugs. That's all I'm going to say. Vomit, Enema, Ecstasy,
1 and 2.
They made a second one.
In case you couldn't get enough of this stuff.
That is bold.
Yeah. Brash.
It's literally... So, think about the name. That's all you need to say. That's all you need to know. My notes here say bangs head on desk because I actually banged my head on my desk when I clicked on this one.
Yeah.
Kuso Limitless. Not related to Guso Milk, but...
It's close cousin, just more poop.
Very close, yeah.
Disgusting.
No pee in this one, which I gotta hand it to the directors. They didn't exploit the
What
pee.
a bold choice.
KT Trilogy. No info on this one. I could not find anything.
Redacted, yeah.
Like, I went to everyone who's talked about this. I could not find anything. I Googled it. I put it onto the Tor browser, the deep web. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Phil, if you're out there, please tell us the real name so we can make a little 15-minute anecdote.
Yeah.
It's probably something like RT Trilogy or something. You just typed it wrong.
Even the guy who made the YouTube video, Wendigoon, no, he didn't have any info on it. Because the ones that I couldn't find info on, I just planned to go to his video and be like, yeah, sure, I'll credit him for it. But no, nothing. Absolutely nothing.
That's interesting.
Motel Files.
Isn't this the one that's like takes place in a motel?
It's literally just like a roughie in a hotel.
Okay.
Or motel. Sorry, it's very important to clarify motel.
Yeah. You don't want people thinking it's happening in a hotel.
No, hotels are too good for that.
Come on.
Genki.
Genki is
Genki.
awful. It's
pronounced Genki.
No.
Yeah.
What's the kanji for it? Okay.
Dude,
so Genki.
So it was the ones that this list specifies is 18, 19, and 21.
So if you ever want to see an octopus and a lady,
no, it's not an octopus. 18, 19, and 21 are frogs, fish, and worms. However, like 1 through 17 include octopuses, crabs,
what
eels.
kind of crabs? Clarify.
I don't know. I'd like to think like a horseshoe crab. That'd be pretty cool.
Oh, I meant like, I thought they had crabs.
Oh, no, not like that.
Okay.
No. I'd like to think like a horseshoe crab. That'd be pretty cool.
I hate that you just said that. That's horrendous. Yeah, I don't recommend looking into these too much because most of them have screenshots, and it's like
they turned hentai into a real thing, live action hentai.
Yeah, I guess so.
Sadie Scream.
Yeah, something like that.
1
through 5. Oh my goodness.
This was like a guinea pig movie. Like it was. I don't have an exact year it was made, but it's pretty old. They wanted to see like, hey, what do people think about this stuff? It's torture porn. I mean, some people are into it, so they found out some people are into it.
Gotta get the market.
No Vaseline, the great porn swindle.
Please tell me the plot revolves around like the Vaseline factory going out of business and trying to start a little town.
That would be good. But no, sadly.
Oh, that's so
made
sad.
by the same people that made Motel Files.
Okay.
This one, I really like the analogy that Wendigoon used in his YouTube video. It's like if you gave a bunch of like 15-year-old edgy kids like 10 grand to make a porn.
Okay.
This is what they'd make. It has that like nightmare fuel editing, super like unnecessarily loud and just like weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
I completely agree with the analogy he made. That's
It
exactly
seems-
what
yeah.
it is.
Okay, we're getting to the final tier.
Tier 8.
Okay, I need to talk about.
Yeah.
All right. So.
It's really important to note when we're here, after this level, there's one film on here that 100% I know you're fine. You can watch it.
Emociones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you want to, you can watch it. Other than that one, it's very important to note, don't go searching for these because you will find them if you look hard enough. Don't watch them if you find them. Because I am not liable for anything that happens to you legally.
Me neither. Yeah, don't look these up. It's illegal.
Don't.
We're not gonna say what's on them. It's really messed up, but it's illegal.
I can get into it a little bit.
Yeah.
Just so I can hopefully cure some people's curiosity on this.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to just say like no, I'm not gonna tell you.
That's just gonna.
They're just gonna go look for them.
Anyways, let's talk about the funny little story of Emociones Sexuais de un Cavallo. So this is a interesting story in
Brazil.
Yeah, Brazil, early. I don't know. I want to say post 60s. Brazil
It
was
happened
like
during the AIDS epidemic,
Yeah.
like 66.
Brazil was like, you know what? We're gonna make our own movies. We're gonna governmentally fund all of our movies.
Well, so the story behind that is that Brazil at the time was under a dictatorship.
Yes.
So the media there was no media.
Yeah.
There was no privatized
It's all
media.
state sanctioned.
So everything that was produced was made by the government. So
most of it under this umbrella company called Embra Film, which was in charge of making a lot of pornographic films. So I did a little bit of research into some just statistical stuff about the like percentage of sexual films made. So in our year, our handy dandy little year of 1986, the year of the horse, we have a 62% porn. So the Brazilian government is paying movie studios to make depraved porn. So our little handy dandy film here, entitled brilliantly Emoções Sexuais de un Cavallo. I'm not Spanish or Portuguese.
yeah, so it's that C with the weird thing on the
Yeah,
bottom.
the
I don't
little-
know how to
little
pronounce
thingy.
that.
Apologies, everybody. Anyways, it's horse porn, donkey porn.
No, yeah. So everyone I heard talk about this, they were like, "Yeah, it's horse porn." If you looked at any of the images, it's a donkey actually, which I think
Yeah.
is funny because the title "cavallo" I believe translates to horse. It's a donkey
Yeah.
though. It's very
Yeah.
important for me to know that it's a donkey.
So this guy, there's only one IMDb review. My friend Evil666, he said,
yeah.
he mentioned the horse. It's not a horse, it's a donkey.
Mm-hmm.
He says it's pretty funny. It's a little bit awkward, uncanny, the kind of acting, and also randomly out of nowhere, Chainsaw Massacre, and it's anti-AIDS propaganda. So it's combining all these things. It's combining the three holy trinities of a good movie: anti-AIDS propaganda, horrible acting, horse porn,
Yeah.
donkey.
Donkey,
Sorry,
donkey.
donkey. Horrendous movie. It is so funny to me that this was state sanctioned.
It's
The
pretty
Brazilian government paid to make horse porn. Donkey.
funny. Donkey. It's pretty funny. I don't know why this one's on this level, but it's
It's
funny.
because of the chainsaw part. It's pretty gross.
Is it? Oh, is it the Mexican chainsaw?
No. It's for
Okay, gotcha. So moving on. Now we have entered a territory of complete gray area.
Do not go in
I am
there.
not going to say 100% if any of these are legal, illegal, even what I think if they are. Just don't. I'm going over these so your curiosity is cured. You don't have to go look this stuff up for yourself. So, Snuff R73. I don't know what's in it. Nobody wants to talk about it. If you go onto the deep web, complete anonymity. Nobody wants to talk about it. You mention it, someone will just be like, hey, nah, cut that out. Stop. Don't talk about it. What's in it?
I almost wonder if it's like a meme.
It could be. It
Like
could straight up
everyone's
be like you open it and it's
like
just
a
like
monkey flip.
you just got coconut mold.
Yeah, that really makes me feel like it doesn't exist, and it's one of those things like what's it called, The Grifter, that curse movie about like horrible things passed around the internet. Yeah, this one's supposed to be the worst possible thing imaginable, but nobody talks about it. So
it from what I've seen, it is a snuff film. So there are videos, images of real people dying, which this is something I wanted to hit on. So a lot of people in my comments were saying it's not illegal, all this and stuff. Like, how is it illegal? It's illegal because some of this stuff, there are either ongoing investigations or the police don't even know that some of these murders took place.
yeah,
You can be charged with withholding evidence, which is a felony in most states. Don't look them up. I mean, it is illegal. Like, I'm not trying to be clickbaity in any of my stuff. It's actually illegal. Don't look it up. Just be safe. Take my explanations of them and leave with that.
yeah. If you really got a hankering for this kind of stuff, just use something legal like Live Leak, please. All that stuff's solved. Like, come on.
Yeah. That was the thing with some of the ones higher up. Traces and Faces of Death, Orozco the Embalmer, Junk Films. It's all stuff the police already know about. It's all stuff that's either been solved or they have all the information. Excuse me. They have all the information they need. Nothing. You can't get in trouble for watching any of those. It's definitely a line you don't want to cross. You don't want a felony, even if it's a misdemeanor. You don't want a misdemeanor, especially for something so stupid, something so unnecessary.
Yeah.
A lot of people were saying, it's super clickbaity to say that. And I'm just trying to get more views, likes, whatever. No, like, I truly, genuinely care about people. Don't watch them if you don't want to catch a charge. Speaking of that,
Mixtapes.
yeah, these are
not fire, bro. These mixtapes are not fire.
My mixtape is, though. Dropping it.
Shut up.
So, the most disturbed person on planet Earth.
MD Pope.
It is known as MD Pope on the internet. 1 to 3. You can't find a copy of it on the ClearNet, Google, whatever you want to call it. You have to go to the deep web, dark web, whatever, like Silk Road, black markets on the dark web to find it. You have to get it with most of these mixtape films. That's how it is. You have to get it in a physical copy. Possessing that physical copy is illegal. Trying to purchase one is illegal. You're going to get sucked into a government honeypot if you do this. So the MD Pope, I got a decent amount of information on. There's animal abuse.
It's just deplorable stuff.
It's bad, yeah. It has the Mexican chainsaw video that, like, everyone has heard of. Some people have seen it. Was on Live Leak. That one, it's on Live Leak if you want to watch it. Don't. Mr. Hands video.
We don't talk about Mr. Hands.
That one was pretty popular back in like 2012.
Yeah, there's a joke going around a lot of schools.
Yeah.
About Mr. Hands.
But yeah, I mean, don't. Just don't.
Really?
If you can only get something in physical copy on the deep web, you probably shouldn't be getting it.
Yeah. That's a pretty good blanket term to just stop it there, yeah.
Yeah.
FUBAR.
So FUBAR is a military term. Fucked up beyond all repair. It's typically like, oh, dang, I just ran the car into a rock. That thing's FUBAR'd. I don't know why they call this. It is a fucked up movie.
Beyond all repair.
Beyond all repair, I guess. Your brain will be up beyond all repair if you watch it. This one I have the most information on.
Okay.
So there's a guy on YouTube who goes on the dark web. He buys all these movies. He watches them so you don't have to. I recommend checking him out. I don't have his YouTube I'll put it in the description, comment something. He bought this, unboxed it, put it in his VHS,
Was it all, like, janky? Was it, like,
VHS
crusty?
player. No.
It's VHS?
No, it's a brand new copy. You get if you buy from these websites, you get a brand new copy. VHS tape. Slid
Who
that
still
baby.
has a VHS player?
I do. I have one in my basement. Slide that baby in.
I wouldn't
Watched
trust
it
this
for a
guy.
little bit. He threw up. He watches this stuff for a living. He gets paid, not paid, but like
Monetized.
I don't think he
you know.
gets. You can't
Who
get
knows?
monetized. You can't get
He
ads
got-
on
Maybe
that.
he's got a Patreon or something.
Maybe.
Yeah.
He threw up. He does this for a living, and he threw up. It has execution videos, surgery videos, like super graphic surgery videos, which
Yeah.
some people can't handle.
Yeah. But that's just kind of funny. Like I guess that's an untapped market for a lot of these movies. I mean, no
Yeah.
one's mentioned surgery.
Well,
It's pretty common.
There's a medical theme in a lot of these.
Yeah, but
'Cause-
nobody's out here using surgery vids.
No. That's
There you go,
That'd be interesting to look
listeners.
into the surgery videos. Why does
Yeah.
that make people uncomfortable?
Well, it's the same thing as gore, really.
Yeah, I guess. Except like kind of acceptable.
Maybe for you, I get a little queasy looking at somebody's intestines jiggling all around.
It has like high quality videos. That's why it's so disturbing for some people because it's new.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact year it was made. I want to say like 17 or 18 is when it was.
Yeah. Plus, a
put
lot
out
of these
there.
are updated all the time.
Yeah. It's high, like very high quality. Like if I took my iPhone and shot a video with it, like that high
Keep it on
quality.
VHS, so
Oh yeah, I mean you can
gonna
still
dampen it a little.
transfer.
Yeah.
Still. It has a copy of Animal Farm on it, which has an interesting story behind it.
George Orwell's Animal Farm.
No.
Get me all excited.
No, this one's not great. I didn't want to look it up because
That's
this
fine.
is illegal.
Yeah.
Like it's legitimately
Okay.
illegal.
Well then, that's good. Animal Farm. I bet you can probably guess what it is from the title.
I'm assuming, this is my assumption. I think it has either bestiality or killing animals or both.
Or maybe it's just
so-
like footage from like a beef industry
It
plant.
could be.
I'm hopeful. I'm really hopeful.
So, I don't think so. But it has an interesting story behind it. The British government, it was made in Britain, Animal Farm. The British government was like, hey, you guys can't make this stuff. They went around and collected all the copies, like house to house, collecting copies of this.
Dude, imagine being like seeing your neighbor getting like his weird torture porn stolen from the government. Like, oh, hey Jim,
What
how are the
happened?
kids?
They took my porn.
Yeah, that's gotta be kind of jarring seeing your friends.
But
Yeah.
they took all the copies and destroyed them. Until Fubar was made,
Somebody had it.
somebody had it and kept it a secret that they had it for however long until they could make this video.
Dang.
That's dedication.
Yeah.
That being said, Fubar is 100% illegal to have a copy of. Don't.
Doesn't it also have like random Happy Tree Friends in it?
That's yeah. So in between like these clips of people being like murdered, it'll just play a Happy Tree Friends episode, which I mean is
Yeah, I mean Happy Tree Friends is like toned down gore.
yeah.
That's
it's
that's
like
really
gets kids
funny.
into gore.
Yeah, that's really kind of funny that there's just Happy Tree Friends randomly. That's good.
Yeah. Next, the Ogreish collection. Ogreish is what used to be, or what is now known as Live Leak.
Yeah.
So Ogreish was the first, not the first, but one of the first to widely produce, like not found footage, like CCTV, people recording themselves killing themselves,
Okay.
recording themselves killing other people. They took that and shoved it out there and like, hey, yeah, go ahead and watch it.
Yeah.
They rebranded into Live Leak, which is a website you can go to now.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have an Indiegogo campaign,
Yeah.
which, in doing research, no one has subscribed to. Like, no one's paid for it.
Probably some random dude.
Maybe. It showed 0 supporters when I went.
Yeah, which, like...
It leads me to believe... I got a conspiracy theory about this one.
Oh, no.
The Indiegogo campaign wasn't actually made by the people who made Live Leak or the Ogrish collection. It's made by the government, and it's a honeypot.
I sincerely doubt your take. What I think happened? How old was that? Do you know how old that campaign was?
I couldn't tell you.
I'm willing to bet some dude, like, saw the Indiegogo or saw the Iceberg and was like, "Oh, dude, I gotta make an Indiegogo. We're gonna remake Ogrish." That's my conspiracy
Maybe.
theory.
It could be.
Some like 15-year-old in high school is like, "Oh, dude, I'm so cool. I'm gonna remake Ogrish."
Porn gore. So, this one is another one I know 100% for a fact is illegal to possess a copy of.
Yeah, don't. Just don't.
The OG copy you can't have.
Don't have any copy.
Don't have any copy, but I know for a fact the OG copy you cannot possess you will go to jail for a felony. It's just a bunch of bodily harm videos with like heavy metal playing over, like local band Cunt Torch. Oh, love them. But the original copy 100% has cheese pizza on it. If you don't know what cheese pizza is, just don't buy it, okay?
Don't buy porn gore, please. Fetus munchers. Excuse me, this name.
I don't have any information on this one really.
Like,
you can buy a physical copy on the deep web. That's what I know. The title, I mean, a lot of these titles have been misleading, but
most of these are kind of just like, hey, how wacky. I think a lot of these movies right now being sold are most likely just the same kind of things.
Yeah.
Probably heavy metal, probably bodily harm.
Most likely, but fetus munchers. That makes me. I'm gonna say it's illegal. I'm gonna say
let's just take a guess.
This is
illegal.
This is black and white, except eliminating white. This is black. Like there's no chance.
Side?
There's no chance that this could even be legal. Don't buy it. Don't buy any of these.
Registros Fatas 3.
We're finally at the end. The last one on my list. So this one is like the rest of these, just mixtape films. So this one has some industrial accidents.
So just live leak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I put a funny meme in there. The Chinese industrial workers when the live leak logo pops up in the corner.
Yeah, that's
because that's what it is. It's industrial accidents.
Yeah.
I mean,
that scratches that like morbid curiosity itch for a lot of people. That's why live leak is so popular because people enjoy watching.
Definitely.
So that's the Iceberg.
There it is. I'm surprised I made it through this episode without like ripping my hair out. I'm surprised I was able to do the research for this episode.
My soul kind of hurts.
A little bit.
Didn't do that much. Yeah.
It really did. It hurt to put this list together. It was physically and mentally draining to sit here and type out word for word some of this stuff.
Yeah. I think a lot of these lower tier movies are just very derivative and the same kinds of things of just hurting people. And I mean, yeah, there's some value in that somewhere out in this microcosm of film, but wowie. Don't go. I mean, I would limit yourself if you're very interested to 7.
Yeah. I didn't watch anything below the... Well, no, I guess I did watch one from Tier 8. The Brazilian donkey porn. But yeah, don't go... I wouldn't... Honestly,
they're not
the Brazilian one, it's not that good. It's not funny. I mean, it's just
bad.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's exactly what you'd think. Like, you don't have to look it up. I did.
It's not worth it. A lot of these are just violent. You can find a lot more artistic violence that's kind of cool, kind of done in a unique way other than just real people. I think there's a lot less of a drive to see that for most people. For some of the people that are going to be listening to this and going, oh yeah, I can't wait
don't.
Have fun out there, champ.
And I also wanted to take a little bit of time. I know throughout I addressed some of the comments I was getting on Instagram, TikToks, like DMs that I was getting. A lot of people were asking, because on the original TikTok I made, my head was kind of like covering the bottom 2 tiers on purpose. Because I don't want people like looking that stuff up. I also didn't want to get banned on TikTok for showing like porn gore, fetus munchers. But a lot of people were like DMing me like, hey, can I get the list? No. Go. You can look for it for yourself, but I don't want to give it to you. Just don't. I made this podcast episode specifically to tell people I looked it up so you don't have to. Someone else looked it up so I didn't have to, but I still went ahead and did it. I know people are going to do it, but I'm hoping giving you another resource to look at this stuff and realize I don't want to look this stuff up. It's bad. I can't stress enough. Don't do it. It's not worth it. I honestly,
really
I explained everything you need to know. There's no...
Pretty much, tier 8, it's almost all the same. Tier 7, almost... I mean, most of there's like 2 categories.
It's porn.
Yeah.
If you're not into that stuff, don't watch it. There's no point.
True. If you want a real like film challenge, try getting through all the Transformer movies in one sitting.
It's hard. I've tried.
Much harder than watching some of these.
Yeah, I think we covered everything.
Yeah.
I want to thank anybody who made it to the end. I know if I were watching, I don't know if I could.
Yeah, thank you guys.
This is our first episode. If you guys liked it, we'll try to make more. I enjoyed it.
We're thinking about doing some more stuff about maybe some really disturbing books, making like an iceberg for that, looking into probably some true crime, I imagine, eventually, but...
Definitely.
Just talking. We'll probably get better at it. I know we probably blew dick
this
suck.
time. This is bad. Like, the audio quality, I'm sure, isn't going to be the greatest. Cause
the microphone's actually on the floor inside of a cardboard box. And there's, like, sponges rubbing against the side, but the bad side of the sponge, so...
But no, I appreciate anyone who listened to this all the way through.
Yeah, thank you guys for bringing in some questions we got to cover on the TikTok. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time on Untitled Podcast Project.
See you guys next time.